Hey, welcome everybody to Drunk Dudes in a Gun Room, man. It feels good to be back here in the studio. It's already been a long week and it ain't but hump day. So, this show is brought to you by Gun Room Radio. Come listen to the best music in Gun Room Radio. All of the artists that are performing are within the military family. Their songs are authentic, and the music and the camaraderie is amazing. So I want you to come and listen. Have a great time. Check us out at gunroomradio.airtime.pro or on Facebook at Gunroom Radio. Hey, all right. Today I have got a guest for y'all. We have got Shawn Laurie, the host of Today Tally podcast. I know I was going to mess it up. Let's welcome Shawn Laurie.
What's up? What's going on, man?
Another day, man.
Yeah, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, brother. Welcome. I'm glad to have you.
All right. Yep.
So, Army veteran, correct?
Yep. Army veteran. That's right. Yep.
All right. When did you come in?
Got in 2004 to 2012.
Okay.
What? 12 Bravo. Combat
okay.
engineer.
Yep. I worked with several engineers, man. That's good times.
Yeah, man.
Off and on the combat side, man. Heading out to the bars can be a good time too with y'all.
They always knew when the engineers were coming into town.
Yes, sir, man.
So, like I say, we're infantry with brains.
Well, y'all do get to blow shit up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
we're on a mission. EOD comes through, and we're like, no, thank you. We're good. Go back home. We got this,
sir, man. So, what made you come in the military, man? Was it 9/11 or family or?
Yeah, I think when I talk about this, man, I think a lot of it has. I'm pretty certain 99% of it's 9/11. I'm a military brat. The reason why I say that is because I'm a military brat, dude. My dad did 22 years in the Army, so a lot of people assume my dad did it. That's why I was going to do it. But I wasn't like that, man. I was growing up. I was a bad kid, bro. I was in trouble. I was running from the MPs. Like I didn't have really that kind of love for the military as a child. When you grow up in it, it's not as a big deal as it is to everybody else. You know, it's like a cop kid. You know, it's not, or a preacher's daughter, right? So, I was a military brat and I was in trouble all the time. So I didn't really, I didn't even finish school, bro. I dropped out in the 9th grade. So I don't think the military was actually on my mind at that time. Long story short, after getting in a whole lot of trouble a few years and going to jail and juvie and just really destroying my life, man, I think it's when the Iraq war kicked off. 9/11 happened, and then it was like, I think 2003, we were really starting to see it on TV. And it was the first time I've ever actually seen, what's up, Eric? Sorry. It was the first time that I ever seen combat live on TV and watching the war in Iraq. So it was like, holy shit, like I want this. Like, and plus everybody at that time, dude, 9/11 just happened and there was this patriotic movement going on and everybody wanted to support our country. So I think that's what it was, man. With that and the Iraq war, I waited a few years, 2004, and I was going to go active duty Army. But at this time, I had already been married. I was now being divorced. I had 3 kids. So I just didn't think it was the right choice to just join active duty and then move, be stationed across the country. So I was like, maybe I'll serve the National Guard. That way I can still serve my country and, be in the military. So that's what I did. Joined National Guard in 2004. And then, out of 8.5 years, I did 5 years active duty time. So, so that's why I joined, man. I think it was, like you said, right on, really because of 9/11.
Yeah. I got a lot of respect for the people that signed up after 9/11, because I came in 94 and there was nothing happening, cutting grass and pulling details. That's all we did.
Yeah.
And um, man, when you talk about somebody that comes in now, they're knowing that they are going to go to combat. It's not about if, you know. A lot of the guys when I came in, it's like, well, you know, what's the likelihood that anything came up? I mean,
Yeah.
you guys came in knowing,
We
and
knew it.
yeah, and a lot, and I think you know at that time, you know, there was a lot less when I came in that was saying, hey, I want to be infantry, I want to be
Yeah.
this, you know. We were all coming in trying to figure out what we're going to do after the military, and man, you know, it seemed like after 9/11, everybody's like, no, I want to be infantry or I want to be, you know, engineer. I want to, you know, I want to fight. And, you know, so my hat's off, man, you know, and I don't know how many people remember seeing that meme, but the one that said it had was picture of, some guys on an old 5 ton and it said, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, my ass,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep. Yeah.
dude,
I
y'all were getting
listen.
it
The
too, man.
recruiter's going to tell you that. The recruiter, they try to make it seem like, oh, you're just going to do that 2 weeks a year, 1 weekend a month. I wish they would just be honest, because most people that join the National Guard aren't looking for that.
Yeah.
They want to be more active and do more stuff.
Yep.
Just be real, like, with the schools, with the, the 2 weeks a year, with, the deployments and all the other crazy stuff, the stateside emergencies. Like, I live in South Carolina, so we had like hurricane duties. Like,
Oh
we had
yeah. Yeah.
things we were doing, bro. And especially nowadays, you see all these guard members out there during the riots and stuff. Like, they play a huge role, stateside and federal.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And you know, and it's unfortunate because when you start looking at the equipment and the training and everything, you know, the states just don't provide it like they
Yeah.
need to. You know, they want to use you guys like active, but they don't want to fund you like you're
Oh,
active.
hell no, they don't want to do that. You got to get this whole different title, like Title 10 or something. You got to get paid federal money, and they
Yep.
just, yeah, they definitely don't want to pay out the money. They want to use you, but they don't want to pay you. And dude, the one thing I mean, I'll never talk bad about the National Guard. Like, they do a hell of a job for what they have,
I agree.
but I just don't like how the schools are and stuff, man. They don't never give you opportunities for schools as much, or it's always some kind of excuse why you can't go, or I don't know.
Yeah.
That was the only thing for me, man. Is I just didn't like how every time I wanted to do a school, there was always a reason why I couldn't go.
Yep. No,
But
yeah. And the you know, people don't understand why you see a 60-year-old E4 because, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, there's
he's
no
about to get
promotions.
promoted. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and that was the other thing too. So, you know, when 9/11 was, you know, the Afghan war was just really kicked off, you know, when I was with the 160, we were so strapped, man. We
mm-hmm.
literally didn't have anybody to run stateside.
Yep,
And they called in the Iowa National Guard to run our stateside base there at Hunter Army Airfield. And man, I felt sorry for them because a lot of them, you know, were business owners, you know, truck drivers that
oh
own
yeah,
their own truck, and
mm-hmm.
their budget and their livelihood is based off of $100,000, you know, that they make a year or whatever, and then
Yep.
they're getting paid active E4.
Yep. I mean,
So
that was a bad part of it for them, but that was also what I used to tell people that made the Guard so great, was because you're taking soldiers that are trained, we know
yeah,
what we're doing, but you're taking a bunch of guys that are mechanics, police officers, construction workers, whatever, and you're putting us all together. So we had, bro, when it came to a great team, we had some pretty impressive resumes.
yeah, absolutely, man,
A little bit of everybody.
and that volunteer part
Yeah.
of is what makes our military great. I don't care what anybody says. You if
Oh
you
yeah.
take away the ability for people to choose whether they want to be there, and
Yep.
we won't be any different than any other country.
Yep.
You know.
But you're right, man. That promotion was sorry, bro. Like, when I was getting out, dude, like, I literally retired, medically retired. I mean, they put my certificate doesn't say medically, it says retired,
Mhm.
but I know after, basically 9 years, I didn't retire like 20 years. But um dude, even then I was supposed to, like, even after I did 2 tours of Afghanistan, I should
Mhm.
have easily been an E5. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But I got out at, E4 Mafia, right? Because it's like, if you get E4, that's where you're stuck at,
It
unless you
is,
do some crazy schools, or you
or
know,
moved
or
to a
move,
place where
or
there's
some
slots
slot.
open.
Oh yeah, there's a slot open over here and like 4 hours away. It's like,
Yep.
oh, okay. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I agree, brother. It always did bother me because you know, you guys. at that time frame, it was different when before 9/11 when there wasn't much going on. But man, after 9/11, you guys were active. I don't care what anybody
Dude,
said,
we
man.
ran the war. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are. I mean, if you look at the statistics, bro, like at that time they were saying there was 150,000 soldiers over there. There was 150,000 National Guard and Reserve units over there. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know where the hell the airborne and all them guys were at, but I know National Guard was deployed, bro. We've been deploying for 20 years, and
Yep.
just my unit deployed 7 times. So I know I did it twice, and yeah, we did our part. They did
No,
their
I
part.
agree.
They can call us nasty girls all they want, but we did our part.
I got a guy that works with me. I give him shit all the time because he was Air Force.
Oh yeah,
So
that makes it
when
even
he
worse.
when he got out, when he got out, he decided to go into the Air National Guard. And
So you went from chair force to freaking really chair force.
yeah, I told him, I said, so that's like the Air Practice Guard, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. Like, it's already bad enough you're Air Force, but good God, now you're Air Weekend Force. Like,
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would always be talking about all the training that they did and firing this gun and everything else. And I just look at him and be like, did
Really?
you read that shit in the book?
Dude, when I was in Afghanistan the first time and we went to Gardez, there was a bunch of, there was a little bit of everybody. And this is in '06. I think I always get these dates mixed up, '06 or '07.
I do.
But we had a little bit of everybody there. And there was some Air Force guys there. But, and I ain't gonna lie, there's a few guys that were gun ho. And we had this one guy, man, every time we go out, he'd be itching it. He'd be like, man, let me go. Let me get on the gun. Let me do whatever. But his commanding, I remember his commanding throwing a fit, bro. They were raising hell one day because we put one of their airmen on the gunner hatch, and we were about to roll out. Man, he got chewed out, bro. We got chewed out. He said, "Don't you ever put our airman on that motherfucking gun. That ain't their job." He was so damn mad. He's like, "Man, I wish I would have joined the army." I was like, "Well, go sit in your air conditioner." I got a nephew that's literally deployed right now in Saudi Arabia, and everybody in the family, right? They're like, "Oh my God, he's going to Saudi," and I'm like, "Do you have any idea where this man's going? He is in the Air Force going to Saudi Arabia. He's probably sitting in a 3-star, 4-star hotel with a swimming pool, probably going to Qatar. Like, please, don't worry, he'll be fine."
The civilian contractors live off bases over there. I mean, they live in their own houses as Americans, so it's not like it's super dangerous in Saudi.
Yeah. My God, it's insane. But I'm proud of them. But and anybody that's Air Force, we got to give you shit. We love y'all, but it's just
smart.
It's incredible to see the different branches, how they even live, and how it's just so different. Marines and Army, man, we grunt it out, and Air Force, and I think the Navy, even they grunt it as far as they're out in the freaking ocean for months. Like, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But Air Force, they are the high class of the military for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And they were celebrating like no tomorrow once they announced that there was a Space Force. They're like, finally, they're going to make fun of somebody else. Damn it.
Oh, dude, they're probably really chilling in that shit.
Hell yeah, man. So, your book that you wrote, man, did that come while you were in the military, or was that after the military?
Got it right here.
Yes, sir.
No. It's kind of a long story with that one. I ain't going to get all really drawn into it. A lot of people that probably know my story, but I did do a second deployment, and that was in 2010. Went back and did my job, kind of going back. My first job, I was a filler. So I was actually doing an 88 Mike job, which was a truck driver. And so, I seen some action, but it wasn't really like, because anytime you're in a non-combat MOS, you're not going to see a ton of action. It is what it is.
IEDs,
I mean, but I am in a big, you got IEDs, you got mortars and rockets and all that normal type shit, but we're not out there, looking for stuff.
Yep.
The second tour, I went in as a 12 Bravo, and we were out there doing route clearance in the middle of the shit, getting hit by IEDs and all kinds of other stuff. But, I've been through all that, been hit once or twice, and seen my friends hit and stuff like that. But that's not what got me injured, man. I hate telling this part of the story because it's one of those, like, everybody's expecting something dramatic and it's always something stupid. But I literally was always halfway through the tour and I jumped. Okay, so for the National Guard, for you guys that don't know, we all do a bunch of like a 3-month training before we even go overseas. Right. So we go to just to kind of like another boot camp, just to kind of get us back into, prepared.
Yep.
And so we went to Fort McCoy this time, Wisconsin, and we spent 3 months up there training to go to Afghanistan. And while I was there, I already hurt myself. I hurt my knee. I didn't know what was wrong with it, but I did something to it. But I wasn't going to talk about it because I wasn't going to get left behind. I knew how that shit worked.
Yep.
So when I got to Afghanistan, like I said, I did it was already probably about 7 months in. Like a dummy, I was on top of we stopped for a dismount mission. And the only way to get out of a Husky is you have to get off the top, you climb down, you jump off of it. I thought it was a bright idea. I would just jump off of it. Well, I jumped off of it, and when I landed, I heard a pop and a crack, and I ended up falling into a ditch, went rolling, and pretty much by time 5 minutes went by, my knee was about that big around. So what had happened was I tore my ACL, my meniscus, because of that. I think it was a prior injury, but I made it worse. So I went to Qatar, got that. That's how I found out the Air Force lives like kings. Went to Qatar, had the MRI, went back home. I went back to MRI, got the MRI, was told I busted up my leg. I went back to Afghanistan, and the commander's like, so what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I'm not going home. I want to stay here. So I started doing guard duty and stuff like that. Just, I couldn't do mission because I wasn't 100%.
Right.
I was walking a chow one day, and I stepped on one of these stupid big-ass white rocks that they got on the base. And I ended up like basically falling down, and the commander saw me, and he's like, Laurie, come see me after chow. I'm like, oh my God. So I go see him, and we got a few months left, and he comes in, he's like, look, I saw you fall. I know you're in pain. He's like, go back to the States, get surgery, and then just prepare for the next tour, which I think we were talking about going to Kosovo. I was like, hell yeah, finally something, different.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, man, I get to Fort Gordon, which is a wounded transition unit, and I'm supposed to go there for surgery, and I ended up staying there for 2 years. I talking to doctors, started having mental things. I started talking about my nightmares, started talking to, they made me feel like it was okay to talk.
Yeah.
And so I started talking about my problems, and I started talking about some of this anxiety that I was having and just different stuff. Well, I was being diagnosed while I was there. They're like, you got PTSD, you got major depression, you got anxiety, you got schizo, you got this and this and this. And on top of it, bro, I was getting a pill for every symptom I had. So by the end of the day, I had like 16 different medications I was taking at once, and on top of painkillers. And that's pretty much was my life until they finally decided that I was no longer good enough for the Army and it was time for me to get out. So whatever, I took the retirement, I took my VA, and I got out. And I went home. But when I was going home in 2012, I was already a drug addict because I had been taking opiates for 2 years on top of Xanax, which is a benzodiazepine. So, bro, that's what happened, man. So from 2012 to 2000 I'm losing count now, but I think 2019, 18, I struggled with drug addiction, man, and struggled with depression, suicidal thoughts. Got tired of my life, bro. I was doing absolutely nothing but just snorting pills and chewing fentanyl and just spending every dime I had that I was being made. I was spending it all drug dealing, and I was just living the life of the streets. And my best friend, Barrero from Puerto Rico, he served with me at Fort Gordon, and he had already attempted suicide like 3 times while we were on base. And I tried to get him help, bro. And you know how they were. Oh, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. They let him go and all this other crap. Well, about 6 months home. No, excuse me. He got home in 2014. So it was about 2 years, but we talked for a couple years. And I didn't talk to him for about like 3 or 4 months. And I reached out to him one day on Facebook, and I was like, hey, bro, you've been awfully quiet. Like, what's going on? No response. And it went on for like 3 days. His daughter reached out to me and said, just to let you know, my dad's dead. And that was like, what? Wait a minute. What do you mean? And she's like, yeah, do you know how it happened? And I'm like, well, I know he drank a lot, but maybe it was a car accident or something. She goes, no, he hung himself and I found him. So I
Oh,
found out my
wow.
best friend killed himself through his daughter over a freaking text message. I was numb, bro. I didn't even know what to think about it. I was just like, this is crazy. Like I didn't even know how to respond, bro.
Yeah.
I was on drugs and I was kind of headed towards the same life. And a few more years went by. No, actually that same year I agreed to my wife that I was going to go get rehab. I finally went to rehab for 30 days and that probably lasted 30 days. And then I got home and I started doing it again.
Yeah.
Because I was doing it for her. I was doing it. I was trying to make her happy,
Right. Yep.
and that was my life, man. And I was gonna. I remember in 2018, right before I was getting clean, I was thinking about taking my own life, and I was really adamant about it. I was like, you know what? I was in a victim mentality. I was blaming everybody. I hated my life. I was so miserable, dude. I was just tired of living. I really felt like I was a burden. I was a burden on my family, and I was dope sick. I had been like 3 days without any pills. I was broke. I was miserable, and a buddy of mine called me up, and he was like, "Hey, man, I got what you're looking for." Of course, right? I'm like, for real? So I rush over to his house and he doesn't have what I'm looking for. He has meth. And mind you now, I'm an opiate addict. I'm not a meth addict. I've never
Yeah.
messed with that other shit. I'm just dope sick now. And he tells me to try it, that it's going to make me feel better. So I was desperate, bro. And I snorted a line of meth. The only thing it did for me, dude, was made me depressed even more. I went into like a major depression. So on the way home, I was finally like, I had broke down crying that I was a freaking meth head now. And I felt so sorry for myself that I was going to end my life. And I was going in my backyard. I was figuring out how I was going to do it. I said, well, maybe I'll just hang myself like my brother did and, not leave a mess for my wife. That way, all she got to do is cut me out of a tree, throw me in a box, and I'll be fine. Like, whatever. And so I was adamant. I was going to do it. And I don't know. I might have left like a dark post on Facebook. It was kind of like, I don't know what I said. I didn't say I was going to kill myself, but I probably was just dark.
Yeah.
And so everybody was reaching out to me, bro. I was getting these phone calls and I wasn't answering nobody. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I just wanted to get it over with and be done with it. Well, there was this one guy that I've been talking to for a few years. He was from 82nd Airborne, and he called me like 6 times in a row. He wasn't going to stop. He was going to call. Finally, I answered it. And I answered the phone, and instantly he's just like, what's going on with you, bro? Like, what's up? And I just broke down crying, bro. Like I didn't even know what, like I was just feeling so much pain and I just needed to talk to somebody and I didn't know how. I
Yeah.
just let it all out. I was just, man, I'm just tired of my life. I'm tired of living this way. I'm tired of this, blah, 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 blah. And dude, the reaction I got was not what I was expecting. This guy came at me like a drill sergeant. He was like, man the fuck up, do what you got to do. You said, you're doing this to yourself, bro. He said, you don't need to be living this way. He said, you're putting these pills in your system. You're living this way. Like just really giving me some tough love. So a way that nobody's ever talked to me before. And I took that shit, bro. And I wasn't offensive. I was motivated. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, like finally, like this is what I need. So even though I was dope sick, I went home and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to kill myself tonight. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to be the best fucking version of myself that I can be. And I will no longer live as a victim mentality. I went in the house and I told my wife, I said, I want to get clean. I said, I'm ready. I am ready. I'm ready to do this. I went to bed, bro. I woke up the next day and I told her again, I was like, I'm ready. Let's do this. She didn't believe me because I've said it before. I said,
Yeah.
call around. Let's find it. It's going to cost us $600 to get me into a rehab. My last $600. I don't even know how the hell we came up with it. That's what happened, bro. I went to rehab. I went to detox for 10 days. And after detox, I got out of detox and then I went to outpatient treatment center for 7 months and I graduated and I was clean for damn 7 months. And I went live on Facebook for the first time ever. And I was like, yo, my name's Shawn. I said, I suffered with opiate abuse for almost 9 years of my life. I said, I got clean and sober. I'm 7 months clean. I said, if I can do it, you can do it. Dude, everybody was reaching out. It was crazy. I was getting speaking engagements. Like it was insane. And
That's
that was my
awesome.
life, bro. It changed. I'm here clean, sober 5 years now, bro, since
Dude, that is awesome.
2019.
Yeah, man.
So,
And that
yeah.
first part of your story is I've seen it so many times. You know, the and I while I was in, I never thought about it. But there's a lot of soldiers, man, that they were just fed opiates.
Yeah.
We had a new soldier that came to us when I was in the 160th, and he obviously you could tell his arm had been blown up.
Yeah.
They basically had no bone left. It was all rods and everything else. And they told him, they gave him a deadline that he had to make to be able to pass the PT test. Otherwise, they were going to medically put him out too. And the part of the story we didn't know was while he was recovering, they had him on opiates. And one day, his wife walked into the office and was like, "I don't know what to tell y'all, but my husband's an addict."
Mm-hmm.
And man, I don't know what ended up happening with him because they did move him to a unit that didn't require a security clearance. But it makes me wonder, how far down that road he actually went because I seen that same story so many times.
It's terrible, bro. It's so easy. Like, dude, I never, like, I tell people, like, I wasn't looking to get high. I wasn't
Right.
looking for that. Like, it grabbed me, bro. And when it grabbed me, I didn't know. I was too weak to fight it. I was too weak. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to just be sick. I didn't know. I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, bro. I OD'd so many times, bro. Like, there's a story I tell people, and to further the earlier story, I talk about when I was at Fort Gordon. So when I was on Fort Gordon, it was basically a transition unit, right? So everybody there is messed up.
Yeah.
Everybody there is messed up, either physically or mentally. But there's pills all over this base,
Yeah.
and we're basically selling them out of the rooms. Like, it's crazy, bro. We got CID involved. Like, we were basically drug dealing on Fort Gordon. It's no secret. Like, that's what we were doing. And
Yeah.
selling pills to make more money, to buy more expensive pills and all that kind of stuff. And um, people were ODing left and right. So it got so bad. It was an epidemic on base of these opioids that our sergeants, our platoon sergeants and leaders were saying, if we find out that any of you soldiers are abusing your medication, we're not going to give you an Article 15. It's not going to be none of that shit. It's going to be you're out. We are going to kick you out with a dishonorable discharge. So we were too damn scared to say something, bro.
Yeah.
I was in the bathroom. I OD'd one night so bad that I was throwing up for 2 hours straight. My roommate, he was a sergeant. He looked at me and he's like, bro, we got to get you to the hospital. I said, I'm not going. I said, I will die on this floor before they find out I'm abusing my medicine and I get removed from the military and my family lose our benefits.
Yeah.
I was so scared of losing my money and my benefits for my family that I would have rather died than told my hires up.
Yeah.
That's bullshit, bro.
It is.
I should not have ever felt so feared that I couldn't come to my leader and say, look, man, I need help.
And it wasn't like it was a secret by that point in time. Everybody, in the medical world knew the addiction that opiates were.
Yeah.
They'd hit the street by way before this war had started,
Mm-hmm.
and it's irritating because the soldiers are taking their meds from starting out from somebody that they trust. The doctor
Yep.
gave it to me. I'm supposed to take it. I take it, you know, and whether you know what it is or whether you don't, but you're taking it based off of the advice from somebody else, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so when that time comes that you need help to get off of it, man, it's like the medical world just turns their back on you and like, oh, that's
Oh, no, you just like the rest of them. You're a drug addict. You just
yep,
want to get high. And the whole reason why, bro, like, even another part of my story is in 2012 when I finally got out of the military and I was going home, I
mm-hmm,
went to the VA for the first time and met my doctor. She looks at my script. She sees that I'm taking like 16 different pills. She's not even concerned about none of them, right? She's just like, oh, I see you've been taking opiates for 2 years. Oh, I see you've been taking Xanax for 2 years. I'm like, yes, ma'am. She's like, well, you got to do away with one of those because they're going to kill you if you keep taking them both together. I'm like, well, I've been doing it for 2 years. Like, you can't I just can't stop neither one of these
yeah,
medications. But my anxiety was so bad, bro, that I was having panic attacks daily. And so I had to really choose
yeah,
between opiate, which I'm dope sick, or my benzos, which gives me panic attacks. So which one? So I chose my Xanax because at the time, I felt like I would rather be dope sick than have a panic attack.
Yeah.
So she just took me off of them. She's like, well, okay, you're done. So I go home and I'm like, now what? And now I got people in the streets that are like, bro, you could buy this for this and buy it for this. And that's what happened, dude. I started
Yeah.
buying all of them on the streets, and it got out of control, bro. It got out of control real fast, real
Yeah.
fast.
I can imagine, man. And, I can't relate because I hadn't ever been there, but, I can, I've had family members that have gone down that road and I see it, and I see the change that happens just like overnight, you know? Um, so yeah, I do understand, man.
But you were asking about the book. If you want, I'll jump into that.
Okay.
So when it's all said and done with, bro, 2019 came around, and I'm very proud, bro. I'm proud of myself, right?
You should be.
I'm clean. I'm sober. I have this new passion, right? I have this
Mhm.
passion, like I want to help people, and that's one thing that you'll learn from me that I say a lot of times for veterans is that we have to find our passion. We have to find that same thing that gave us what we were having in the military. You know, a
Mhm.
lot of them get out of the military and they're like, they feel miserable because they haven't found what they love to do yet.
Right.
And so I found just telling my story was good. People were listening to me. People were, I was attracting a certain crowd of people, and they were like, yeah, like I can feel this guy.
Yeah.
And so I started getting speaking events, bro. I was going to Ohio. I was going to Washington, D.C., North Carolina. And it was amazing. I'm so like freaking out. Like I don't talk in front of people, dude. I don't do this. And like I'm doing it. And I'm
Yeah.
facing my fears, and I'm standing in front of all these people, and I'm just talking. And but I've had this passion this whole time where I wanted to do more.
Yeah.
Like we got to find a solution, bro. We can talk all day long, but until we find a solution, well, I'll back it up a little bit. When my best friend killed himself, I started doing research, and this big number 22 kept popping up everywhere. And this is in
Yeah.
2016. And, I didn't really know a lot about it at the time, but it was saying that on the average, 22 veterans take their life every day to suicide. And so that was like, holy crap. Like I started doing more investigation with that. So I opened up a Facebook group called Vet Life for Life, and it was supposed to be a place for veterans to go and like-minded people and family members just to come together and have support.
Mhm.
And so that's how all that started. Even at the time when I was still getting at the end, I was still high and still killing myself. I was still trying to help other people.
Yeah.
Because that's usually how it is, right? The ones that are helping the most are really needing the most help.
Yeah. You're
But
right.
so that was going on for a few years, and then it was around 2021. I started talking to some friends and some entrepreneurs and different stuff, and I was like, I need to write a book. I need to do something. I don't want to write a book just about my life. I want to, because one of the biggest questions I get from people is, how did you get sober? How did you get clean? How did you change your entire life for this 9 years of misery to who you are today? And I wanted to put it in words.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? How about I write a book called Veteran Mindset 2.0? So it's like a 2.0 mindset. And that's what I did, bro. It's like 2021. It took me a whole year to write this book. And it was based on 5 ways how to upgrade your mindset to the next level. And in this book, it talks about the 5 ways. And then it goes into different affirmations that I use. It's all personal development, bro. It's all
Right.
self-care. It's all, I truly believe that our mindset controls every aspect of our life. If you believe it, it's going to happen. If
Yeah.
you truly believe it, and you got to get your mind to believe it. And that was the big ticker for me, man. It's like, as soon as I believed that I could be clean, as soon as I wanted things to change, things changed. And I seen that firsthand. And I was just trying to tell other people that, like, they're like, I'm so miserable. My life sucks. I'm like, well, what sucks about it? They're like, nothing ever goes my way. I'm like, well, what are you doing for it to go your way? Are
Yeah.
you complaining like you're doing now? Or are you actually doing something about it? And so that's what I wanted to teach people. And that's what I did. So I wrote the book, bro. First week, bestseller. First week. Like, I was freaking mind blown. Like, it
Yeah.
was Amazon brand new bestseller. And I couldn't believe it, bro. And even today, 2 years later, it's still selling. So it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's a good book. And I mean, sometimes I read it and I'm like, did I really write that shit? but like, I feel like God, I don't know if there's any believers in here, but I feel like God was with me the entire time I was writing this book. For an example, chapter 4 is about self-worth.
Mhm.
And I screwed that whole thing up, man. I wrote the whole chapter and then I accidentally deleted it. And I was so discouraged, bro. I was ready to quit. And then a buddy of mine was like, rewrite it. I was like, I can't. He's like, rewrite it. It'll be better. And I'll be honest with you, it's better. It's better than it was the first time. And
Yeah.
that's everybody's favorite. That's everybody's favorite chapter is chapter 4, self-worth. And
You
but that's
know,
why I wrote it, bro. It's a solution. It's just a way for people. It's just a way. It's. I tell people this book isn't a cure because it's just a book.
right.
You have to put in the work. This is a tool. This is
Yep.
a way for you to go, wow. So if I follow these steps, then this will help me get to the next level. But of course, you have to put in the work.
Yep.
And that's what I did. And I put like 60 questions at the back of the book as well to hold you accountable. So,
Yeah. So the thing I love about it is the title, because in a lot of my previous episodes, we talk about the differences between the generational wars. The
mhm.
World War guys were different than the Korean and Vietnam, and
Yep.
and we are different than they were. You
Yep.
know, and when I seen the title, I was like, man, veteran mindset 2.0, because we're completely different than those aspects. Our life, the responses we got when we came home was different.
Yeah.
When I was landing in Maine, the USO would literally come out there and start clapping to make everybody else stand up and start clapping as you're
Me
getting off.
too. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they didn't do that for the
Nope.
Vietnam era guys.
Nope. They
You
got
know,
spit on.
yeah, they got spit on and
They got
everything else.
spit on and booed and called a baby killer and all kinds of other crazy stuff.
Yeah. So, that title, man, that title was perfect, because we are the
But
veteran
here's the
2.0.
crazy part. It was built when I first wrote it. Obviously, I was trying to help veterans. But
Mhm.
the crazy thing is, dude, is that it helps everybody.
Yeah. No,
Anybody that struggles,
yes.
they read it and they're like, dude, I'm going through this right now. Like this is and that's what I tell people. Like I didn't want it to be one sided, but
Mhm.
again, I wanted my veterans to know that, if you upgrade your mindset, I think your life will change. But if you're not a veteran, this book will help you too. You
Yeah,
know?
and something that we all forget. Everybody hears PTSD, and the first thing they think of is veterans.
Yeah.
But we forget about the law enforcement and the EMTs and
Yep.
firefighters and everybody else that they have the same symptoms. A lot of them suffer from anger and um, memory losses and just all sorts of the same symptoms, but the causes were different. you
Yep.
know and so it makes sense why that
That's
book
right.
would help them too. you know
That's right.
because, again, something to think about. A lot of those guys used to be veterans. They got out, they became police officers, firefighters, are still serving,
Mm-hmm.
so they still have the same connections of the VA and stuff like that. And we know, man, I went to the VA for the first time, man, and it was like I hit the pill jackpot. I walked
Mm.
in, she's like, "Well, what do you take?" I said, "I take ibuprofen." I said, "Does that count?" And
Some
she's like,
Ranger candy.
"Yeah." She's like, "For what?" And I said, "Well, pretty much everything." I said, "My knees hurt, my back hurts, headaches. It's just the cure all drug." And she's like, "Well, do you buy them?" I said, "Well, yeah. How else do you get them?" She's like, "Well, you can get that through the VA, man." And now they're sending me, like, man, I have to, like, hand them out to people. I'm like, "Hey, y'all need some ibuprofen, man." you
They
know,
don't play, bro.
they don't.
You get two big old bottles,
Yep,
and then you get every
free
month. It's
refills of
like
those.
Jesus Christ. Like they listen, man. That's been a problem with the VA for years, and I'm sick of it, bro. And to be honest with you, I mean, listen, and here's the sad part, and I'm just gonna put it out here. If you want your rating to stay where it's at, take your pills, right?
Yeah,
Because what's gonna happen is you're not gonna take your pills, and they're gonna say, "Oh, you're better."
yep. Or they're gonna say you're refusing treatment.
Or refusing treatment. And it's like, wow, okay. So I got to take all this psych med. I got to take all this bullshit. Nah, give me something natural. I mean, I don't smoke weed, but let some people smoke weed. That's good for them. CBD,
Yep.
whatever, you know?
So I was going to bring that up. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up, because I had a lady on our show. She owns a bus called the Cannabis,
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen her on Facebook, but
I haven't seen it. I gotta check that out.
so she's got a family member that back in the old days, he was killed over 12 marijuana plants.
Oh.
The police came in and he got shot trying to stop them. He was a veteran and
Mm.
he was smoking weed, I guess, to deal with his anxiety. He was a Vietnam veteran. And so she became real pro drugs, especially for the military. She wanted them to be able to use CBD and cannabis and everything else for treatments
Mm.
legally. And so she drives around the world in the United States with this bus holding rallies and everything else. And I was going to ask you, your thoughts on that as far as for treatment, because I personally have never done it, but I completely do see the benefits of it. Compared to all these manufactured drugs. I mean, I have a pill container every morning I have to open up,
Mhm.
and it's just like, well, I'll just take all these and go to
Yeah.
the go, and then if you don't take them, you're like, shit, man, this day sucks. You feel like shit,
Mhm.
you know.
That's right.
So she claims that she's been able to help veterans get completely to where they're not taking any pills and they're
Mm.
functioning. And if that's the case, man, my hat's off to her. But I
Mhm.
was I was curious what your thoughts was on that. If you think something like that is there or
I think so, bro. I think that it's a medicine, dude. I think
yeah,
that it's a natural medicine. I think that, we figured it out. And they figured it out years ago in the 70s when people used to smoke it like all the time,
yeah,
when it helped with chronic pain, it helps with, bro, you can use hemp, you can use CBD, you can use all these stuff for so much stuff. Why wouldn't it be a medicine? And
yep,
anybody that believes in God, I mean, why wouldn't they think that God would give us some type of plant or natural plant to help us with pain? We weren't never meant to make pills for us. We were supposed to use everything natural. So I mean, bro, if you look at it, like, I'm not against people that drink, right?
yeah,
They can drink. But if you look at the statistics, more people die every year of alcohol poisoning or alcohol related accidents. How
hmm,
many weed accidents have you heard of? It
not
just doesn't
near as
happen,
much.
bro.
No, they
Yeah,
don't.
it doesn't happen. I
And
mean,
and and the amount
yeah.
of domestic calls
And
because
domestic
of the
calls, dude,
weed,
I
it
talk to
don't
cops
happen.
all the time. They would much rather go to a weed call than an alcohol call,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because if it's going to an alcohol call, you're fighting. If it's a weed call, you're probably hugging each other. Like,
yep.
it's just, I don't know, dude. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I think the problem comes when it's on the streets because you never know what people are
That's my
putting in
point.
it or
Yep.
lacing it. But I think every state needs to be medical, medicinal. I think all of us need to have it available to us.
Yeah.
Um, I don't see why not.
I agree, man. And
Mhm.
I've listened to the Joe Rogan show a lot, and I kind of feel that same way about psychedelics. I
That's right.
listened to the Shawn Ryan show, and he's a big supporter of psychedelics.
Yeah.
And like he says the same thing. That last statement you made is exactly what he says. You have to go with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yep.
You're not taking it to get high and party.
Nope.
It is a treatment.
You have to
Yes.
use it that way,
Yep.
brother. That's exactly right. Just like, and I'll just speak this, and I know a lot of, listen, I know there's a huge controversy on it. I talked about this not too long ago. But like methadone and Suboxone, I get
Mhm.
it. Listen, methadone, I really don't care for. I think it's a little too powerful, and I think that it's way more addictive. But Suboxone is a great alternative for somebody that struggles with any kind of opiate, especially heroin, or if you're really a big opiate addiction. But here's the deal: you gotta want to stay clean. You gotta want to be sober. You gotta want to use these things the right way. If you're using Suboxone to get high, or if you're using it other than treatment, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You,
No,
you
I
got to
agree.
go into this thing and say, okay, I'm taking this. It's going to kill my craving. I don't have to go out here and look for drugs. I'm good. Same thing with this. If you're taking this weed and you're like, oh, I'm going to get stoned and all this other stuff,
Yep.
you're defeating the purpose of it. If you
Yep.
really have chronic pain and you want to get off of opioids, then you need to take this weed, smoke it, or whatever you do. And then if your pain subsides, then put it down and go, okay, I'm good on pain. It's
Yep.
all about our mindset, bro. If you taking it for whatever reason, you're doing it for the wrong reason, you're going to get negative results.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And the other big key that you've said, I've watched a lot of your videos, and it keeps coming up, is you've got to get away from that victim mindset.
Got to,
You
bro.
you have to, and
Mhm.
I can vouch. I am one of those people that have just recently kind of
Yeah,
started accepting
you
it.
heard it. You heard. I said I had it.
You know, and I since then I've gotten happier, and I haven't changed my
Mhm.
pills. I haven't done anything different, except now I don't just sit there and say, well, I have PTSD, so this is why life is like that. You
Your
know,
diagnosis doesn't define you, my brother.
yeah, you're right. I didn't even notice, but yeah, you were
Yeah,
absolutely right. You
that's
know,
right. That's
yeah,
right. And the reason why people ask me. I've had people ask me, "What is that? Why did you come up with that?" And it's like because for the simple fact is, so many, not just veterans, people in general,
yep,
they'll be like, oh, I can't do this because I have PTSD, or I can't go here because I have anxiety. Listen, I get it, right? I know how hard it is to do certain stuff with with certain diagnoses. And then when I mean diagnosis, like obviously if you can't walk, you can't walk. But what I mean is like PTSD. Some people will say, well, I have to be in my house 24 hours a day because if I go outside, I'll have a freak out. Okay, but you're allowing your PTSD to have power over you.
yep,
You're allowing it to do that to you. If you at least just would go outside and take baby steps and
yep,
just learn, just get better, just at some point your diagnosis isn't going to define who you are. Just because you got PTSD doesn't mean you're broken. It
yep,
doesn't mean that you can't be a normal person and live a normal life.
yep,
Normal life. What's normal? But I meant live a life of fun and happiness. You can be a happy person and still suffer with addiction, or excuse me, with PTSD or
yep,
depression or whatever. You can still learn to live with these things. You
yep.
just gotta step out and try.
And, and
You
that
gotta try.
I'm one of those guys. I can't stand going to Walmart. I can't.
I can't
I
stand
hate
it
doing it.
either,
But you know what? I still force
but
myself
you
to
do
do it
it. Bam!
because
My boy said force. I've
yep,
said that 1,000 times to y'all.
you,
Force
you have
yourself.
to.
You have to force yourself out of the bed sometimes. You have to force yourself to go outside. Hell, I bet you, bro, there's times you don't even want to do this podcast, but
Yep,
people are relying on you. And so you force yourself to do this.
yep,
How do you become successful? Force yourself to do the shit that you know you need to do and
yep.
stop making excuses. Stop making excuses.
No, you are absolutely right, brother. And I think that is the biggest thing to take from any time. You everybody can say I have problems. Well, guess what? We all do.
We all do.
You know. So at what point? And I hate to say it, I use this example as all the time in my shows. That they say once you hit rock bottom, then you'll realize, hey, you need to get help. Right. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is, as soldiers, we've always drove on. We've
Mm-hmm.
sucked up, we've embraced the
Sucked
suck,
up
and
and
you just
move
keep
forward.
moving forward. So when you hit
Yep.
rock bottom and they say, "Are you ready for some help now that you've hit rock bottom?" We look at them and say, "Bitch, hold my beer. I can go
Right.
deeper."
Damn
And
right.
we just keep digging ourselves further and
Yep.
further down until
Yep.
finally, you know, and
So whether you're past rock bottom,
yeah,
you're
we'll
under the
speak
bottom.
Chinese.
Yeah. I used to tell people all the time, like, I even had this one guy, no lie, bro, straight up, probably about, it's been a while now. It's probably been about a year or two, but I had a guy, was talking on the phone with him or whatever. And he's like, bro, I just don't know what I'm going to do. He's like, I just hit rock bottom. He said that. He said, I just hit rock bottom. Bro, I'm not going to shit you. He heard me in the background going, and he was like, are you fucking clapping at me? I was like, bro, congratulations.
Yeah,
He was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I told you I hit rock bottom. I said, congratulations, bro. I said, you now only have one place left to go, and that's up.
yeah. Start fixing now. Now you're in a place of fixing it.
So now you can't go no deeper unless you're a veteran and you want to keep digging. But I'm just saying, like,
Well, I mean, that's why when you go to the VA, what's the first thing they ask you when you go to the therapist? Do you have any legal problems?
you have any legal problems? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess we all do because we just keep going further and further in the hole, man. Yeah,
This really everything I'm hearing from you too, man, is true, right? It's all mindset. It's all on
it
what we
is.
think. It's how we react to certain situations, man. My biggest problem used to be, even today, is that I get angry too fast. Like that comes with a lot of PTSD, is our anger. But even with that, bro, you just got to learn to look at your shitty days, man.
Yeah.
We all have shitty days. It's all about how we react to these shitty days. Are you going to allow these bad days to define your entire day? You know, you meet some people that have a bad morning and they go, well, now my whole day's ruined. Well, why?
Choice.
Why? Exactly. It's your choice to let this whole day ruin you. Yep. If this one incident pissed you off for 10 minutes, be pissed off for 10 minutes. Now move on to something else. Yep. Be great that you're breathing. Be grateful that you're still alive. Be grateful that you got a home. Be grateful that you got a car. Be grateful, whatever. Just because you hit a bad spot in your life don't mean your whole day is shit. You chose to make your whole day shit. Yep. You know.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And again, I think that falls back so many that statement falls back to that victim mindset.
Yep.
You know, great, my whole
day. It's not my fault, bro.
Now.
It's your fault.
Yep. You know, great, my whole day is ruined because you ruined it.
You ruined my day. Nah, bro, you ruined your day.
Yep.
I mean, listen, if you're married, you know that's hard. Your spouse can piss you off easy. But it's my choice if I want to stay mad all day at her.
Right.
I mean, she can do something or say something. And you know, I'm the kind of guy, dude, even today, I don't even stay mad, bro. It's not even worth staying mad. Somebody can do me dirty, and I literally an hour like whatever, whatever. Like there's other things to worry about. I mean, why am I going to? It takes a lot more energy to be angry than to be happy. So, you know, I'd rather just be happy and live my life and just be just grateful that I'm alive, bro.
Yep, and I think, you know, unfortunately, I think a lot of this comes not just from anything else, but a little bit of age and a little bit of wisdom. You know, I do feel like as I've gotten older, you know, I've been able to see through some of the bullshit that would used to make me mad. You know, and what's the old saying? You know, when you're young, full of piss and vinegar. You know, well,
that's true.
I think as you get older and the vinegar goes away and you just end up pissing all the time.
I agree with that.
You know, you kind of just let shit roll off the back. You know, you might make a statement or say something, but you have no intentions of standing there and arguing with somebody all day. And I've seen that difference, especially with podcasting, because when I first started podcasting, man, and somebody would make a comment that I didn't like,
I want
to argue.
Yep.
You know, yep. Now I don't even respond.
No, it's what's worth it, bro.
Yep.
No, dude, I used to go. So TikTok's the worst. I don't know if you've had a chance to hang out that toxic ass app, but you know, it's one of my biggest platforms, right? So I go live over there, and when I first started, dude, oh god, it was just so much toxicity, so much, you know, politics, and so much just rah rah. And I used to feed into that, and the more I fed into it, the more it got worse, and the hate came tenfold, bro. And so when I realized that I wasn't giving these haters attention, they went away.
Yeah.
And that's what I do now. Like if you hate on me, there's a block button for a reason. Goodbye.
Yep. and you know, I think kind of in a way, if people would realize it, because I used to be that same guy too that would say, fuck Facebook, I'm done with this shit. Yep. You know? But if you change your mindset and you change what you're searching for, guess what? Facebook changes too.
Facts.
You know, if you stop chasing all the things that piss you off, like politics, religion, any of the big things that you want to argue about, guess what? When you stop searching for it, Facebook will quit showing it to you.
They will stop showing you. Stop putting yourself in these situations. It's funny you say that, dude. It's like people are pissed off about things that they keep putting themselves in. It's like you just said, if politics piss you off, then stay out of it. If you can't handle talking about politics, then it's not for you. Stay away from it.
It took some time, but since I've started this podcast, dude, and especially now that I've started this radio station, dude, my feed is filled full of music and artists and veterans. Dude, I come to Facebook pissed off and I leave happy.
That's
a lot of people come to Facebook happy and leave pissed off. You know?
I do want to throw this out here though. And I feel like it's important to say, because a lot of times it's easy for people to be listening to us and go, oh, well, they just act like, you know, they're perfect and they never have bad days. Let me tell y'all something. I am an open book and I am very transparent. I get angry. Like I said a minute ago, I get angry all the time and I am not perfect. I am not perfect. And there's days that I'm ready to freaking flip out on people. But here's the
Yep.
difference. I don't quit. I don't give up. And I don't blame other people for my problems. I will never blame anybody in here for what's wrong in my life. If it's wrong in my life, I probably did something that made it that way. And I will take responsibility for my actions. That's different than the old me. The difference between some of y'all is that your life's in shit, but you want to blame other people because your life's in shit. You want to say it's that person's fault that you can't grow, and that's just not true. You are responsible for your success. Like in my video, I duetted with Jelly Roll. You know, he made a perfect video. He was like, you know what? You are the only one responsible for your success, bro.
Yeah.
You want this podcast to boom and have 100,000 downloads? Then that's you. You got to be consistent, and you got to do this every single week, and don't give up. And one day it will, bro. One day it will. You got to believe it, and you got to know it's going to happen. Manifest that shit.
I do believe. I was never a big Jelly Roll fan. Never really heard of him, right?
Yeah.
But I do believe that the Lord gave him a different purpose than what he thinks.
Bro.
You know, because until he started talking about his life,
Yep.
I didn't really start listening to his music. And then after I heard his stories and I learned a little bit about him, because if you just look at him, you're going to judge and you're going to be wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And when you hear his stories, man, and then you go back and you listen to his music, it has a whole new meaning.
Bro, he came up the same way I did, bro. Same way I did. I was a white boy that was mainly, like I said, I was a white boy. My dad was in the military, so we were very diverse. You know, anybody that knows the military is around very diverse, you know, black, whites, Mexicans, whatever. And that's the way I was raised. And so I wasn't always like a lot of people growing up in a small town, whether with that race or this race. I was raised around a lot of violence, a lot of gangs, a lot of inner city type stuff. And so I came up that way. And, you know, I lived 4 hours out of Nashville. Just at the same time these guys were coming up, I was living that same lifestyle, you know, but I could have chose to live that life. All my friends from my town are in jail, bro. Everybody I know when I was a teenager is in jail or they're dead. And everybody's like, wow, only you. And now you're not even the guy you were in high school. I'm like, no, because I chose to be different. I chose to be better. And I made a different life for myself. It's up to us.
I'm gonna tell you, dude, you were right on it. And and your podcast. So at what point did you start your actual podcast?
Man, that's a tough one, dude. Like, just like with everything, I struggled, bro. I think people don't realize podcasts are harder than they seem.
Especially if you do it by yourself.
When you do it by yourself, and it's it's just very hard. It's just very hard. You got to figure out I think the biggest thing, first I'll say the commonality between us all is that I think a podcast host wants to be heard. I think we have a message. I think we want to be heard, and I think we want to get that message out. But again, I think on the other flip side is that there's so many interesting and great people out there that we want them to be heard as well. So it's like you got to decide on what you want, right? Either you want to have just a podcast where you talk, like video and all that good stuff, or like me, where it's just audio and you can really focus on it. But it was hard, bro. I thought about so many different podcasts. I've done so many different and failed and kept trying, but then something just kept coming back. Struggles to success. And I started realizing everything that I talk about and everybody I talk about with, I always talk about where they come from and how did they become successful, right? Like, that's what's curious to me. Like, I don't care what you're doing, like, as a celebrity. I want to know what was the turning point from your struggle to your success. And so that's what I do. I bring on these influencers, these big people, and I say, hey, listen, you know, everybody wants to know your story, you know, because we all have one. And so that's what I do. But it was probably a couple years ago, man, I cranked it up, and like I said, I failed and I got tired of it. And then I did it again, and I did about 20 episodes, and I was burned out, bro. Because I have a tendency to do a lot of stuff at once. I'm very ambitious, bro. It's like I'm doing events all the time. I'm writing books. I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing live social media, and I overwhelm myself. And so then I get to a point where, like, I'm just burned out.
Yeah.
And I'm an empath. So I talk to people. I feel their pain, and it makes me sick. And it's very hard, bro. And but I did my first season. I did 20 episodes. And then I was like, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a break, a mental mind break, a mental mindset break. And what was awesome is when I came back, I talked about having that mental mind break. I was like, look, everybody needs to take a mental break. It's good for you. And now I'm crunked back up and I got 11 episodes to drop now. So, I didn't quit. I just stepped off for a bit. But yeah, man, that's what I did. It's a couple years ago and I'm still going.
And the one thing I get a lot of people asking, so I've been podcasting now for, I don't know, almost completely 2 years now. So
Nice.
heading on the 3-year point. And I do this because I love it. I could care less where it goes. What I'm doing is what I love. I love talking to different people and learning different sides of the stories and hearing different stories from the people, just like you said, of how they came up and their struggles and to where they're at today. I just, I love it. And it doesn't everything have to be negative. It doesn't always have to be I got PTSD and life is horrible.
I mean, sometimes you have people on here to just have fun and talk about real life or talk about what's going on. And that's what I like about this podcast because it's so diverse. It's like one day you might have me who's a mindset coach, and then you have another guy that's just, likes to have fun, like whatever.
I've had comedians, I've had singers, doctors, people that drive around in tie-dye buses called the cannabis. I mean,
That's awesome, dude.
Whatever. When I see something that I'm interested in, I reach out, man. I want to hear your story. Let's come on and talk. And I think that's why I like the Joe Rogan so much, not just because it's super famous, but because that's the way he runs it. He runs it based off, I love to hear this story. Let me
real,
hear.
Bro.
He had a farmer on there one time that was from Georgia doing regenerative farming, and he was curious about it, so he brought him on the show. Some no-name, no-guy farmer, and that's what I love about it. You just don't never know what you're going to get. And I tell people, I said, put the stats away. Don't think you're going to become the next Joe Rogan.
It's not as easy as you think.
It's not.
Logan Paul with freaking number one podcast in the world. And it's like, what do they do different than us, right? But
they have a team.
They have a team. And you know what, bro? And we'll get into that in a minute about the nonprofit. But yeah, one thing I've learned, brother, is we have to have a team. You got to have a team of people that you can support, that support you, believe in you, and have your back. And they put your interests, the business interests at heart at first. You're golden, bro. You're golden.
Yeah, man. And podcasting can just be so healing.
It can be.
If you're passionate about what you're doing and you enjoy it, this is a way of relaxation, man.
Yeah.
You have a bad day at work and there's a guy on here. He was just on here earlier. I don't know if he's still on, but he has a podcast called Every Day's a Saturday podcast.
Brian.
Yeah, Brian Roof. He does every Wednesday. He does a Wacky Wednesday live feed, dude, and he just throws the stream up there, and anybody that's watching can hop on, and he'll bring them on, man. And he's just listening to music and just having a great time.
He's a fun guy, man. He's a fun guy. I met him. He invited me on his podcast, and man, we had such a hard time. Like, oh my gosh, bro. Like some podcasts, they like I said, technical issues, whatever. I think I hate to call you out, Brian, but it wasn't him. It was just we literally recorded for like 30 minutes and it didn't even record. So we had to start all the way over. But I was willing to do it, and I just he was a fun guy and he has a good attitude, and we're friends now because of it. Some I walk away and maybe never talk to again, but there's some that I go back and we're good friends today.
Yeah, dude. Since he started helping me out with this radio station, he's became a DJ, and I listen to his show just because I love it, dude. He is so funny, man. His crown.
I didn't even know he smoked weed until I went on the YouTube one, and he was just blazing on 420, bro. And I was like, dude is going off. I loved it, man.
Yeah,
he didn't care. He was like, listen, this is who I am. If you don't like it, get the stepping.
Yeah, that's what I love about him, dude. Yep. He's real, and I think that's the important part about it is you have to know who you are, and you have to be able to point that finger right at yourself and say, "Hey, you fucked up."
That's right, brother. So, that's why I tell people, like, how do you become successful? You almost got 400,000 on TikTok. I'm like, listen, the only thing I've ever done is just been myself. I've always been real. If I can see you on camera and then I meet you in person and you're not the same person on camera, I don't like you instantly.
Yep.
Instantly because you're fake. I don't
Yep.
want to talk to a fake creator. I want to talk to somebody that's real. And I've kept it real with people, bro, since day one. I have
Yep.
nothing to hide. I am an open book. Those that you find that get blasted on social media, those that are like what they call doxed, those
Yeah.
that are like just thrown under the bus is because they come into this whole thing lying to people.
Yep.
They're trying to tell you, they're trying to paint this picture of who they are. If you're just honest about who you are from the beginning, people are going to either love you or hate you, but at least let them choose who they want, if they want to love the real you or not.
Yep.
You can ask anybody in here, bro, that knows me. Like if you meet me on camera and off camera, I'm exactly the same.
Yep. Same with me, man. And I can. This podcast, we would have went the exact same way, whether the amount of views said 0
Exactly.
or 10,000. It wouldn't have mattered to
Exactly.
me.
Nope.
We would have done things exactly the same and had
Mhm.
a great time.
And that's
So
one thing let me say this really quick is that one thing I've learned, and the hardest thing is what we do, bro, is personal development, mental health, anything that's positive, bro. It's easy to take this podcast and make it into like more, like, have you ever noticed like anybody that does something that's more of like a bitch session,
Yep.
it explodes. But anything that's positive, you struggle for numbers, you struggle for people to care, and it's just, that's the hardest thing, to be consistent, even when you know I should be getting at least 100 people in here, right?
Yep.
Because, but like you said at the beginning, when you don't focus on the number and you don't focus on who's actually watching live, and you're just doing something that you love to do, that's when it makes a difference. So,
and I agree, man. And that's where it has to be. If it's ever going to be successful, it has to mean something to
that's
you.
a start here, bro.
Yep. So,
Mm-hmm.
so how did your nonprofit start?
So that was another interesting story. It started in 2016 when I first, like I said, I wanted to create this group. And at the time, it was when Facebook first came out with these groups. Like you could create a group on Facebook. And so I created a private group, and it was called Vet Life for Life. And it was a place where obviously I wanted veterans to come, but I knew their families were struggling. And I've always been that guy, man. I've always been, as much as I want to help veterans, I've always been able to help everybody. Because I just can't seclude everybody, man.
Yep.
When you're that guy that's helping people, and you get the moms and the dads and the brothers and sisters reaching out, it's like you can't turn them away because they're not a veteran. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all family. We should look at each other that way. And so I was just like, you know what? I got a place that helps veterans, but whoever you are, here's a safe place. Just put it that way. It's like a safe place. And so I did that for a few years, man. It was just a group. And then on and off, as 2021, I thought about wanting to do a nonprofit, but I just didn't have the mentality, bro. I thought it was going to be too hard. I can't run a business. But what was crazy is years from 2019, I had been hosting my own events. I started hosting my own events, and everybody's like, dude, you should run a nonprofit. Like, you could really make a difference. So that's what I did, man. 2022 in October. So yeah, going on 2 years now. We turned that group into a nonprofit, and that's what we did. We created a nonprofit. We got registered with South Carolina. I built an entire board team. I have a full board. I have a committee. We do everything legit, and so that's what we do now. And our ultimate goal, I call it my 5-year goal, is to build a retreat facility here in South Carolina, so that way people can go and just get their mindset right. I want people to come in, and it'd be like a program, like a 2-week program where you can come and get help, like with anything, addiction, juvenile, whatever. I want it to be a place where people can go and just get help. If it's mindset building stuff, or if it's, life hacks, whatever, just a place where people can go and get help, man. And so that's what we're working towards.
And I've always said this, man. The big facilities, the VA and stuff like that, man, there's nothing wrong with them. But that's not what's going to fix the veteran community's problems. It's going to take us to police ourselves.
That's right.
And these mom and pop nonprofits, like what you're talking about, and all the other ones that have been on my show, they're the ones that are boots on ground. they're the ones that are going to make the difference. And
Veterans
I,
helping veterans, bro.
yep,
Veterans helping veterans, patriots helping veterans. One thing I will say though, for those that aren't veterans, we couldn't do this without y'all. And I say that 1,000 times, bro. Like some of these patriots out here that love us veterans so much, I'm telling you, I've ran into a lot of people that just love us because we served our country, and they're so loyal and they're so like, I will do anything for you. And those guys are what really helps us do what we do.
yep.
But I do believe veterans need to help veterans more. I think there
agree.
needs to stop with this whole competition. We're not better than each other. My podcast ain't better than your podcast. My live's not better than your live. My organization's not better than your organization. If we come together and we fight together for the same mission, then that's the way it should be. We should work together and help you the way you can help me. And maybe you could do something I can't do for these guys. Maybe I could do something that you can't do. If we work together, that's just more lives being saved.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to take, and that was another thing when me and Brian was talking about, he told me, he said, man, I love what you're doing with this radio station, and he was passionate about it. And I'm going to tell you now that he's partnering with me on this, man, it has gotten so much better because now it's not just me that's passionate about it, but Brian is too. And the days that I'm down, just like you were saying, his motivation brings me back up.
Yeah.
Yep. And
sometimes it's good, bro. I tried to do a podcast. I started off, I did another one. We had like 5 of us in there. I think it was a little too much.
Yeah.
And then we tried one with some other person. And I don't know. I think some of us work better alone. I can work with other people, but I think because I have such a creative ideas, and I have such, like, I want to do things a certain way, that it's sometimes hard for people to work with me because I'm very perfectionist, and I'm not going to do anything unless it's 100%. So either you're coming with me, we're going to do it together at 100% and do it right, or we're not doing it. And I don't think everybody has that mentality.
And I think I think with exactly like what you said with podcasting, I think that's the way it has to be.
It has to be, bro.
And he has his own show. I have my own show, and together, we're working on this radio station, and great things are coming from it. But because my vision is not going to be the same vision as everybody else.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so, I do. When you're talking about creating content, and that's the cool thing about the radio station. He has his own show, his own time frame that he decides what he wants to do, how he wants to call it, what songs he's playing, the whole 9 yards. And there's enough room for tons of us to have that same window and that same opportunity. And I think it's a great. I didn't mean to go off on the radio station, but I'm passionate.
No, that's okay, bro. That's something you're proud of and you're passionate about, and that's okay. I mean, if we can't love what we do, bro, and you can't be proud of it, then I even tell people it's like it's an accomplishment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, dude, I'm not going nowhere." I'm like, "Are you serious? I could probably make a list of great things that you've done this week." Just the fact that you sit here and got a new podcast with your boy is like, that's huge. Celebrate. I even talk about it in my book. Celebrate your accomplishments. Even the small ones. Small ones.
Yep.
Because
you have to,
it's important.
And with anything, just like with a business, man, they say there's 2 things. You can either run a business or you can work a business, but you can't do both.
Yeah.
And sometimes with podcasting and content, we get so wrapped up in those weeds that you can't see the accomplishments. That's right. It takes those people, it takes your followers and everybody else just to say, hey, how much this meant to them, what you said. And then it pulls you out of those weeds and you take that step back and you're like,
that's what does it for me, man.
Yep.
That's what does it for me. I talk about it all the time. It's like, when I first started doing this stuff, just talking, making videos, whatever, I've been doing it for so long now. But even now, I look back and I'll look at a comment. People don't realize I am that guy that even if I have, say I make a Facebook post and it's 700 likes and I don't know 25,000 views, or 25,000 comments, I'm reading as much as I can possibly read. And for every good comment, bro, I just take it in and I suck it in and I go, wow, another person is going to have another good day because of something I said or did. And especially the messages, bro. When I get messages that say, hey, man, today's video, you just saved me or you took me to the next level or whatever, I'm like, wow, You know, I got this one guy. His name's Mike. I mean, I've had numerous people tell me I saved their lives, but this guy, I truly believe, because every time I see him or he sees me, it's the same thing out of his mouth. Or he'll introduce me to somebody and he'll go, "Hey man, this is Shawn. Let you know, one of his videos saved my life. I was going to end my life one night, but because his video, I didn't do that." And the thought of that is like, it's not cockiness, it's humbleness. It's like, wow, bro, something I said helped you that much, you know? And so I can't quit. I can't quit.
Look, at the end of the day, helping others is also therapy.
It is.
A lot of people don't understand that
Yep.
is, you know, when you get down in the dumps and then you help somebody else and you see their happiness, it gets reciprocated.
Yep.
Some of that will come back onto you.
Oh,
You know?
all of it's going to come back to you, bro. All of it.
Well, I
All of
mean, as
that
far as
good.
just that
But
moment that it's going to lift you out of that
Yep.
dump you're in because you know that you did
Yep.
something good,
Yep.
and for that moment you're not going to be depressed.
Finally,
You know,
right? Yeah, for that
yeah.
moment, you're like, wow, I did something good.
Yep.
I did something good for somebody. Because if you're not that person, if doing good doesn't make you happy, then maybe you need therapy. Maybe you need to figure out why even helping others isn't, because I think everybody has that in our inner self.
Oh yeah,
You
they
know,
do. Yep,
you know, if
absolutely.
we, even when you help that old woman at the grocery store, you know, can you grab that up there?
Yeah.
And you grab it for her and you bring it down. You know, you feel good. You did something nice for somebody. I think.
Yep.
I
Sounds
mean,
like you
even
met my mom.
even for like a nonprofit, bro. There's one thing I've always said, and you know, I wish, bro, if I had one wish, it would be to have unlimited funds. And the reason why, and people say, well, money don't make you happy, rah, rah, rah. I'm not doing it for happiness. But
Yeah.
if I had unlimited funds, do you know how many people will be riding around in minivans and houses and trailers and cars? Like, do you know how much I would just be giving away shit? If I was that guy on this live right now and I was rich, like I would literally be like, okay, let's give away. Who is hurting tonight? Who needs something? Right? Like, I got a family of 5, and you know, our car just broke down, and I would have been like, you're getting a new van. Like,
Yep. Take it out.
it's crazy hard, bro. I know it's, I know I would be that way, and I'm going to be that way, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love
And
to give, man.
again, you know, I feel the same way. I never thought about it. Like I said, right now I'm in Missouri, and my family is in Georgia. That's primarily where we were at. Whole different environment. Missouri gets fucking cold. I mean, I
Dude,
don't know if
Fort
anybody
Leonard Wood.
realizes that it gets fucking cold. And I didn't think about this till I came here. I mean, I did, but it didn't hit me. You see a
Yeah.
homeless veteran in Georgia, and you're like, yeah, I know it sucks. It's going to drop down to 65 tonight,
Yeah.
you know? And when I got here and I seen homeless veterans, and I'm like,
Freezing to death.
yeah, it's like fucking -7.
Yeah, man.
And I'm just like, I don't care about, at that point, I don't care why you're there. I don't care what
Yeah.
your story is. I don't care what your mistakes are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wanted to do something. And so I partnered with there's a bunch of us podcasters that are getting together. And it was just a group chat. We were talking. I was on a show, and one of the podcasts, I told him, I said, I want to try to get to where we can see how many jackets we can raise,
Oh,
and all of us, you know, go around to our local people. You know, that we're all in different areas, and let's start handing out jackets to homeless veterans. And the other guy is like, I think that's a great idea. We'll call it the jacket off. You know, and I was like, dude, that's perfect, man. That's awesome. We'll make it a joke. We'll make it funny, but we're going to do some great things. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to buy a trophy, and somebody's going to be the winner of a
shit.
jacket off. So,
I see the greatness of it, but my veteran brain kicked in as soon as you said it. I was like, wait a minute, the what?
yeah.
Say that again.
And that's what happens when you give us veterans the opportunity to come up with stuff like that. It's going to be stupid and dumb, but
Hey, listen.
somebody's going to be warm.
Oh my gosh, dude. I have a buddy of mine, and this is off topic, but it's so crazy. And I know some of y'all ain't gonna get this, okay? So just don't even try to get it. But just when you put veterans together, just like he said, we come up with some weird stuff. We'll do some crazy stuff, say crazy stuff, and we had this joke, and we used to say, "Man, we should do a TV show or a morning show called Jerk and Catch in the morning." And I'm like, "Well, I'm Jerk and you're Catch." But
Yep.
yeah, even today we crack on about that one. He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna turn that into a YouTube." I'm like, "I don't know, bro. I don't know."
And dude, that's the
But
amazing thing. I had a Marine on my show, and I heard him on another podcast. I listened to this podcast called the Salty Soldier, I think is what it was
yeah,
called. It
yeah, I know that guy. I was on that podcast. Yeah, he's a
was
great
you
guy.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was on, this guy was on, and I said, dude, man, he is so funny. I got to get him on my show. So I reached out. He created a farm. He's in North Carolina, just up there by Charlotte, and the name of the farm is Morningwood Farm. And the part that was funny, he said, "Man, I'm getting surrounded by all these suburbs." He said, "At some point, I'm going to lose my land and I'm going to have to sell." And he said, "We're already looking for other states where we can move to get away from it all."
Right.
And I said, "Man, that sucks." He said, "No, it's going to suck for them." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because I've already submitted the application and paying the fees. I'm changing my street to be called Morningwood Way." He said some rich ass suburb is going to be living on Morningwood Way, and he's going to tell everybody that's his address.
I love it.
I said, dude, that is hilarious, man. But yeah, and he all of his shirts, go right along with it too.
I can
Morningwood.
see Rocket Morningwood.
Yeah, it said his logo is Morningwood Farms. We're up before everybody else.
Oh my God, I see it. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great, man.
So yeah, he awesome guy, man. And
Yeah, salty soldier. Yeah,
yep.
the salty soul. Yeah, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It's been years though, bro. I think I don't know. It might have been
Yeah.
a year or two.
I
But
don't think he's doing it anymore.
yeah, because when I was on it, I was on the salt. It was like highlighted in green or something. The
Yep.
salty soldier.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, I was on their podcast. They were doing a podcast at the time.
Yep. Yeah, man. And that again, like I said, man, I love it because this community, dude, you run into the same circles and
Yep.
the
Yep.
stories that you hear are just amazing, brother.
It is, man, and nobody's as creative as like just veterans, bro. We're just like that, dude. We're just even when we're in combat. I can remember being in Afghanistan, and we're literally running around. We got a mop on our head and putting pillows in our shirt. We got boobs, and just being silly, man. We people don't understand. You gotta have that. Listen, you can't be serious all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how you deal
especially
with
in combat because
Yep.
you will go crazy over there. So
yeah, no, man, I agree, brother.
that's my thing now. I'm always so serious. Like I take mental health very serious,
Yeah.
and I can't stand like, bro. I do have sort of a little pet peeve, and I feel like there is a lot of, I don't know. I don't really say it much, but since we're being real, there are certain people out there. I feel like there are people that use mental health and 22 for clout. There are people I feel like are using our veteran brothers suffering as a way for them to grow, but I don't focus on that, but it just irritates me when I know for sure when there's people doing it for their own personal gain. Yep. I'm like, nah, bro, like these are really my brothers and sisters that are dying out here, and you're worried about money or you're worried about claim or fame or whatever. It just kind of pisses me off. But like I said, I don't focus on it like that no more, but that is one of my pet peeves.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you, dude. It wasn't too long ago. And I'm not talking trash about them because I do follow their page. I like their page.
Yeah.
And this was, what do we call it in the Army? I was giving them a little bit of professional development.
Yep, that's right.
Is what I was giving them.
Yep.
But so it's called, their site's called Vietnam Veterans is what it's called.
Okay.
They usually, and it's usually Vietnam veterans, a bunch of hashtags, and then it says Vietnam veteran flags still for sale or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're selling flags is what they're doing.
Right.
And they usually post a picture or something. And they posted one day of, I'm not even going to try to act like I know his name. I don't remember it. He's a comedian, but he's been burned and he
Bobby Headline.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And they posted a picture and they said, "Can this veteran get a God bless?" And it just hit me the wrong way because I was like, look, all I'm getting from this post is that this veteran needs a God bless and you have a flag for sale. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I'm getting from this. I said, you guys didn't talk about the fact that he's a comedian, that he has a show coming up. If you're going to
Mm-hmm.
use him to promote
Yeah,
yourself, man, at least promote him. Let the world
100%,
know
bro.
what he's doing.
Yep.
You
Great
know,
guy. Great
yeah,
guy.
dude, he's
Dude, I
funny as
fanned
hell.
he's funny as hell, and I can't give away too much stuff that got going on. But anyways, just great guy, dude. And I was like fangirl when he started following me. I was just like, bro, like I love what you're about, because this
Yeah.
is an example of that he took his struggle and he turned it into success. This man could have gave up, bro. He's been
Yep.
burnt 99% of his body,
Yep.
and he's still out here rocking it. Still
Yep.
out here doing his thing and making people smile. So fuck, dude, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yep.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, man. After that, I seen him. He made a post, and he was kind of basically bitching about that same thing about people stealing his pictures.
Yeah, I remember that. I
Using,
remember that. You won't even give me credit, but thank you for using
yep.
my shit for. Yeah, I remember.
I tried to reach out to him. I wanted to see if he'd come on the show, but he
He's hard to
probably
get a hold of. He's
yeah,
hard. But
he probably has like, I don't know, probably 50,000 messages a day that he gets
yeah,
hit with,
yeah.
you know. But yeah, dude, I would love to have him on sometime. And
Well, I'll tell you what, man. If we can make our connections happen, like I think's gonna happen, you might have a chance. We'll see. That's all I'm gonna say.
well, I appreciate it.
He's
Like
a
I
great
said,
guy, though.
he
Yeah,
is. He's funny as hell, man.
he is.
I wanna catch one of his shows. I really
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Matter of
I
fact, he's
know
got one coming up in
he
Myrtle
does.
Beach.
He does. He sure does.
So
Yep. Awesome dude, man. But yeah, so where's the best place for people to find you if they want to get part of your nonprofit or check your podcast and all that good
So
stuff?
I guess if anybody's interested in this guy, you guys can find me right here on Facebook. My full name, Shawn Laurie. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the same, Shawn Laurie. You might, if you type in Sir Veteran Guide, that's on TikTok. But yeah, that's where you can find all my content. If you want my book, you can actually go to Amazon and type in Veteran Mindset 2.0 or Google. It'll be the number one. It'll pop up as soon as you type it in. Actually, in all my links, though, I have a link tree, so you guys can, find all my information by going to my profiles and just go through my link tree. But yeah, that's where my book is. If you guys are interested, we do have an event coming up. It's called Walk a Mile in Their Boots. It's our 5th annual. It's not a 22K this year, but we are going to Myrtle Beach. We're doing we're doing a boardwalk for 22 is what we're calling it, a boardwalk for 22. So it's a huge speaking event. We got amazing creators coming out, big influencers. Somebody that I know, our main event is Conservative Anthony. He's from
Okay.
TikTok, and he's just a great guy. We got a lot of good people coming out. You guys are interested in Myrtle Beach, October the 20th and 21st. Links in my bio, and just we got 50 VIP tickets that we're selling. We're down to like 46 now. So, I mean, they are moving. We just posted it a couple weeks ago. We're always trying to give back, man. We're always trying to have events and try to do something and to raise awareness and show people that, that we're out here making a difference. But yeah, you guys can find me on all platforms. Either look me up at Shawn Laurie or Veteran Guy, whatever. Our nonprofit, go to go to vetlifeforlife.com with number 4, vetlifeforlife.com. Same, just read about us, see what we're about, what we're doing. You guys can join. We're always looking for new committee members, those that want to join our team and help us out and stuff like that. We are trying to build a facility to help people. We're always just trying to give back. Either way, it's through podcasts or positive messaging, or if we open our Discord where you guys can come and get like one-on-one coaching, like whatever. Any way we can help you, or just somebody, you need to talk to somebody. We got a full team. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, man.
And I will make sure when I send the audio part of this out, I will have all the links, especially to your book and to your organizations, added in there. So if they don't get it from here, they can get it when I put it up on Spotify.
Yep. And same way, I'm going to say my podcast as well, From Struggles to Success. It's on all platforms. I just haven't done it on YouTube. I'm more of an audio kind of guy. So if you guys want to listen, you can find it on Apple, Podbean, all of those, any major podcast platform. Yeah, all that good stuff. So we are taking sponsors. If anybody's interested in sponsoring our event this year, or if you want to be a vendor, you can shoot us an email at vetlife4life at yahoo.com, vetlife4life at yahoo.com, and let us know. If you guys got a business and you want to show up and sell your merch, we got you. We want to help you guys out too. So
That is awesome, man.
let us know.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, brother, I appreciate you
Yeah,
coming
man.
on. And dude, it has been a great time. I love it. I love what you're doing. I follow your content, and man, just keep doing it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thank you for having me, brother. It was fun. I think we connected well, and looking forward to talking to you off of this too, man. And let's
Yeah,
connect. And
sounds
maybe I'll
great, man.
bring you on mine, man, and we'll have a chat.
Absolutely, man. I would love it. I would love it. Well, I appreciate it, man. You guys take care and be safe, man.
Absolutely, bro. Thank you.